Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Happy to be here with you this morning and every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. On today's broadcast, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', I will be joined first in our Dolphin Dive, as you know, as the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the Moyne College Dolphins. We have the opportunity to bring you content you won't find anywhere else. And today, in a Dolphin Dive, we get to celebrate with Mary Grimes, the women's basketball head coach for Moyne, following their first ever win as a D1 program against a Division I opponent. So we'll talk to Mary in just a moment, picture in picture, and then we'll be picture in picture with Seamus Shanley, Syracuse Orange and West Genesee alum, joining the broadcast to speak on the hiring of Fran Brown as the Syracuse football head coach, the 31st head coach in their history, and to talk about local recruiting, the importance of the Northeast, and so much more. And then we'll start our video, a separate video in hour number 2 for the Fantasy Football in Focus as we take on NFL Week 13. Every game, every team, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. So with that being said, I am honored and privileged as always to be picture in picture here with Miss Mary Grimes, and we are here to discuss that first Division I victory, history in the making. Mary, how are you?
I'm doing great, Dan. Enjoying this snowy weather we got in the Northeast.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different than your trips that you've had lately, you know, to be able to go out to California and Colorado and different places. So what has the experience been like to start off this first D1 campaign with so many games on the road in so many different parts of the country?
It's just been a great experience overall. I think for our players, seeing their eyes light up, seeing, the mountains in Colorado and seeing the ocean in California and some of the things I think, they wouldn't have been able to experience otherwise. That's been unbelievable. And then to play the top teams in the country with USC and Colorado, they're going to remember those things, for decades, and they're going to, tell their kids about them, tell their family, it's so that experience has just been unbelievable, regardless of the result. I think you can't trade that experience for any amount of money. It's just a lifelong experience, lifetime experience.
And you speak on that, the fact that you started off your season against, not just pretty good teams, but the best teams, some of the best teams in the nation, and Colorado taking down the reigning national champion LSU, and then going out to USC, another team that was ranked high in the country. When you're playing teams that are going toward the top 5, top 10 in the nation, I would imagine that no matter, like you said, no matter what the result is, your team gets to see a lot of different things, and they get to essentially see what it's like, one, to play in the NCAA tournament type of feel, and two, to see what they need to do to be one of those top teams in the nation. So it's definitely a pressure cooker, but I think it also at the same time pays off dividends to be challenged so fast into the first Division I season.
Yeah, I mean, I must have amazing luck that, Colorado beats LSU and then we're playing them. I don't think anybody would have guessed that. But,
Yeah.
Like you said, the NCAA tournament feel when you go out to these big arenas and they turn the lights down and their introductions, like that wow factor, I think we've kind of, shrug it off now that, that's going to be the environment that we play in. But I think, small games, game by game, and what I'm asking them to do in practice and then hopefully show up in the games. I think that's what we're measuring our success by. It's like, spacing on the floor. Are we in the corners like I'm asking, or are we still on the wing and things like that? So, like I said, regardless of the outcome, I want to see those things being done because in the long run, those are going to pay off dividends.
Yeah, and you talk about paying off dividends right after playing those games, a few games after playing Colorado and the game right after playing USC. You went to University of Massachusetts Lowell, UMass Lowell, and faced off in that game in the great state of Massachusetts, went into overtime, and the team wins 63-61. Not surprised at all, and I know that it's an entire team effort, but, to give a shout out and kudos once again to your fearless leader, LaToya Baker, just what you could say about that game, that moment, everything that built into that to play the games against those teams that you played, and everything we're talking about, to be under the big lights, to have that tournament feel, to play some of the best teams in the nation, all leading into your team believing on the road against UMass Lowell that they could do it. In overtime is forced, and they get that victory.
Yeah, I think, every game adjustment I had been making in the other games and the game adjustments that, I made in UMass Lowell, I think the team finally saw them come to fruition. And, at the end of the day, players make plays. That was nothing I drew up at the end of the game. Kaya just took it the length of the floor, and Toya made a great shot. And I'd put the ball in their hands again because they've been in those situations. Kaya Goods won state championships. Latoya's won games. They've been in those tight situations. Even last year, playing against Assumption or Pace, I'm sorry, and Latoya had the last second shot. I think she wished she had it back, and now she gets another opportunity to make a game-winning play. So I think all those experiences for both of them just came to fruition. And, it was definitely a total team effort, 1 through 13, we couldn't have done it without them, the support of the bench in practice. And, we talk about being together and having our culture right on the road. And, it was good to see it finally come to fruition.
And Mary, you said, I didn't draw up any play. I just trusted my players. I trusted that they knew what to do. Bring me into that, because that trust is built, that trust is earned, that trust happens over time. Just to go a little bit deeper into the trust that you have in them once they step out onto the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I do everything in my power to empower them as young women. In practice, I'll say, hey, we're going to run this set, or we're going to play this defense. And then I'll give them the opportunity and say, okay, what defense do you guys want to run? What offense do you all want to run? So they kind of, have that ability to make those decisions on the court. And I'll ask them, what do you see out there? What do you feel? Because I'm not playing, I see one thing, and sometimes I'll see one thing and they make an unbelievable play the other way. And I'm like, I didn't see that. So, it's trusting the players, in practice, and then to carry it over to the games, and trusting, a lot of people said, your freshmen don't play like freshmen last year, with Kaya Good and Sierra Lynn and Sid Lusher. And I just, hopefully put them in positions where they can be successful. And I think that's held true to us. And so Kaya Good is great at bringing the ball up, and Toya's great at finishing around the basket. So, I don't think there was anything that, they did without the realm of, who they were as players.
I know it's early in the season, and I know that you're always focused on that next game to come, but did you personally kind of take a breath there at UMass Lowell and look around and say, like, this is the first D1 win in our first season as a D1 program. I'm the coach. I've had D1 experience, but the first time I became a head coach was at Moyne. This is going to live forever. Do you take that moment in at all? Do you take it in with your team? Do you feel that personally when it happened?
Yeah, I definitely felt it probably the last, 5 seconds of the game after Latoya made that shot, and they're dribbling the ball up and they take a long heave. And, we've had to overcome some, adversity off the court, on the court, and I did probably take 5 seconds. It was a long 5 seconds, to kind of say just wow, not only just the first win, but just proud of the team for, handling that adversity, because we have been facing some tough opponents. And, it's tough when you're losing all the time, and, you're used to winning. And then that 5 seconds, sometimes people talk about the light flashing before their eyes. In that 5 seconds, it was a long 5 seconds that I was just proud of, who they were as young women and what they accomplished, not so much as this is the first win, but just like, they should feel good about what they did, to accomplish this.
Here with Mary Grimes, the head coach of the Moyne College Dolphins women's basketball team, following their first ever Division I victory against a Division I foe. And, outside of that, Mary, when we look at this, and like you said, what they're learning, what they're taking away, I know you had a match recently against Boston University, another game on the road, and there were moments there too where you pushed Boston and challenged Boston as well. The record's not going to show what you're seeing from your team, and I would love to, not just the Boston game, but in general, where we are at this point in the season, 6 games in. What are you seeing from your team? What are some of those things that you've been teaching or talking about in practice, you and your staff have been trying to develop, that you see coming through and that you know are going to kind of pay off down the road?
One of the biggest things I saw, we went out and played USC and we started out 0 for 7,
Yeah.
and so I was just like, gosh, we're getting the shots, we're just not making them. And then you watch the BU game and we're making shots early. So, the same things are happening. It's just, now they're seeing the ball go in the basket, so those are things I see early where it's just like, okay, we can't dig ourselves a hole,
Yeah.
because we're going to fight. That's the standard of the program. We're going to fight for 40 minutes. And so, trying not to dig ourselves in a hole early has been a point of emphasis because like I said, we're going to fight, but it's better to fight when it's, tight than when you're down 10, so those are things that we've been, harping on. It's just, being consistent early. Because at the end of the day, we're going to fight at the end of the game, but we don't want to have to fight from a huge deficit.
When you are taking this ride with your staff, the staff that you put together, you know what it's like, as I said before, to be an assistant coach and be a part of a staff in different places, including Division One. The staff that you have up and down the line, what can you say to how you all kind of teach each other, train each other, help each other, see different angles at different pieces, just what the staff at Moyne brings to these student athletes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the staff has been really great. They're all sponges, they're all learning. This is Joanna's first year at Division One, as well as Coach Mack, Emma McDonough. That's what we call her, Coach Mack. And then Katie has been at Division One for a while. So just learning me and understanding what I want and my vision for the program. And, they bring energy every day to practice. And that's all I ask is, they bring a sponge-like attitude to learn and grow as people and as coaches, so it's been really good. I try to empower them as well, what they're seeing offensively, defensively, what they can do to help each player. So, it's been really good. Everybody's got fresh ideas and, a different perspective, which has really, really been good.
Before you play some teams in state, Colgate and Buffalo coming up, you're going to be in Richmond, Virginia at the University of Richmond and at VCU. Just what you can speak on as far as these upcoming matchups and where the team is at, in your opinion. Yet another trip, another time to get back on the road and head to Richmond, Virginia. I've been out that way. I've been by those campuses, so I'd love to get your thoughts on the next, road stint that you have here before we play some teams in the state of New York.
Yeah, I mean, our biggest thing is just being able to stay together as a team, and what better way than getting on a bus and, for a couple hours and, kind of just hashing it out and talking to each other and sleeping a little bit. So I think that's what's going to pay dividends for us because we have a lot of local players. We got people that can go home for the weekend to Rochester. We got people that can go to Auburn, and kind of just get away. But now you're stuck on a bus. So just building that culture for our team. And we're hoping to stop at Gettysburg Museum on the way down to Virginia and Richmond and, bring some more cultural things to their lives. I think the places that we've been able to kind of, explore the country in a way that they may not have otherwise. So, they may have, read Gettysburg in a history book, but now they'll kind of get a live view of it. So, Richmond's a very good team. They play for 40 minutes, but we do too. So we're excited to play them. And I've never been on their campus, so I'm excited to see that huge spider in the center of the court. And then VCU, I coached against their head coach when she was at Stony Brook. So I know she brings an intensity and a fight to their team as well. So another opportunity to just get better as a team off the court as well as on the court.
And Mary, before I let you go, you're big on culture and making sure that people are not lacking information, lacking
Yep.
kind of knowledge about history and whatnot. So whenever we speak on building teams, we speak on building culture. And then there's that other side of, like you said, going to Gettysburg and teaching culture. So how does teaching culture build a culture, essentially?
I think it just gives everybody a different perspective. Our team is very diverse, and I'm big on that as well. So we have a Canadian on our team. We've got people from New Jersey. So learning about other people and learning about their cultures. I think you can't live in this world and have a tunnel vision. Everybody's different. Everybody brings something different to the table, and so as much as we can learn about people as individuals, and not just kind of put them in the box and say, oh, Canadians are this way, or, people from New Jersey are this way. And that, just looking at people as individuals, I think that's huge. And it's just going to pay dividends in the rest of their lives. And when they go out into the working world, everybody says, oh, they want to hire somebody who's been on a team in college because they are able to work with each other. And I just want to make sure I'm setting them up for success, for their life after basketball. And I think that's a huge part of it.
You've been on the sidelines D1 as an assistant. Now you're on the sidelines D1 as a head coach. We're a few games in. What has it been like through your viewfinder as a D1 head coach?
I've been there before. Whether I'm sitting or I'm standing, the environment doesn't bother me. I think we were a little bit shell shocked the first time we played out at Colorado State. But for me, I just felt comfortable. It was nothing different for me. I've been in the big arenas. I've played against UConn when Maya Moore was on the team. So Juju Watkins at USC was nothing. To me, but it was for our players. So I try to be a calm source of energy for them. So they don't see it as a big deal. They just see it as another basketball game. So it's just been an unbelievable experience for me overall. So, I love where basketball is taking me, and I love where it's taking our players. So those big arenas, it's been awesome, but there's no place like home. I can't wait till we get back home at the end of December, and have our fans see us.
Final note here. The Lemoyne footprint. You've been able to travel to a bunch of places. You will continue to travel all the way through the end of December. So on the recruiting trail, you get to get out and see the country. You get to kind of pull double duty, right? You can check out different things, take notes of different things, be in different places. Is Lemoyne, in your opinion, recruiting wise, getting the name out wise, everything that you get to do to take advantage? Because I know that you see it as a glass half full. How are you taking advantage of being on the road? And do you feel that the Lemoyne footprint is expanding itself because of this opportunity of your first D1 season being on the road so much?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. We've been on ESPN Plus a couple times, so that already increases our brand and increases our ability to, reach different parts of the country. We were in Boston a couple times the past few weeks, and my philosophy is to own the throughway. But we've got people out in Massachusetts that are taking notes, so we were able to have some recruits out at our games out in Massachusetts and get to see us play live, so they can kind of see who I am as a coach, see our team, see our style of play. So that's just been an unbelievable experience as well. Just being able to have people who want to come play here see us play live, because I think that's a huge recruiting advantage when teams can kind of see how you play and see your style of play, and they can see if they can fit in that system. So, and get a feel for me. Now, obviously, we can't talk to them on the road, but it's still great for them to have that opportunity.
Well, I know you'll be on the road, a lot of big games coming up, but everyone that misses the team can come and see them on Sunday, December 31st, the last day of the year at noon Eastern time against Princeton, who will come to Ted Grant Court. So in the meantime, Mary, to you, to the staff, and all the student athletes, congratulations once again on that first Division I win, and continue to do what you're doing, because it has been impressive to see those key moments and those different things building. And I love watching it. So keep doing what you're doing. I look forward to talking with you soon.
Awesome. Thanks. As always, fins up.
Fins up. Thanks, Mary. That coming once again from Mary Grimes here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And I can't thank Mary enough for being a part of the show. We have the opportunity every single Wednesday to bring you our special Dolphin coverage, but we under-promise and over-deliver. And so we've had the Dolphins on many times, just like we've done with the Bobcats and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnerships, to bring you that content and to make sure that we are consistently helping to grow the brand of the Moyne College Dolphins, as well as the Bryan and Stratton Syracuse Bobcats. So big time thanks to Mary. I know Clay Gagan Sherman was on there, former women's basketball head coach at Bryan and Stratton, who helped to build that program and is now the men's basketball head coach. He was watching, so shout out to you, Clay. And a big time thanks and a shout out, of course, to Mary and to her entire staff for everything that they have done to be where they're at right now and be constantly growing. I mean, they had the first Division I season, and you're playing two of the top teams in the nation in Colorado, who takes down reigning national champion LSU, and then having to go play USC, and playing both of those games on the road, extremely challenging. So I do want to shout out Mary Grimes as well as her staff, Joanna Dabrowski, assistant women's basketball head coach Katie Kalinsky, and assistant women's basketball head coach Terrence Mannion, assistant women's basketball head coach, and grad assistant women's basketball coach, assistant women's coach. I didn't mean to say head coach if I said head coach. So to the assistant coaches, Joanna Dabrowski, Katie Kalinsky, Terrence Mannion, and to grad assistant coach on the team, Emma McDonough, who, as coach said, she calls Mac. And of course to Mary Grimes, the fearless leader of the Moyne Dolphins women's basketball program, who in her first 2 seasons with the program helped to guide them to the NCAA tournament, not to postseason just in conference, but to the NCAA tournament. So in her first stint as a head coach anywhere, which has only been at Moyne, to be at Moyne, first time as a head coach, and to go to back-to-back NCAA tournaments, and now in just 6 games of Division I to have a victory and for it to happen on the road, Mary Grimes continuing to impress and show every reason why Moyne said yes to her and her leadership. I look forward to everything that the team will do moving forward, and to Kaya and to Latoya and to the entire team. Congratulations on that victory, 63-61 in overtime on the road at UMass Lowell. And thanks for making history for Moyne and for our community. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, I'll have the opportunity, the blessing of being joined once again by my guy, Mr. Seamus Shanley, who will be joining me here. He is an alum of not only the Syracuse football program, but also the West Genesee Wildcats. So he will be joining me on the broadcast momentarily to speak on the hiring of Fran Brown as the new leader of Syracuse football, as well as to talk with me about the Orange moving forward, the importance of Northeast recruiting and recruiting locally. All of that's coming up momentarily on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love. Streetside Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox.
If I had to describe it, I would like to say welcoming and kind of homey. Like, I feel home when I'm here.
Here's a special message from North Star Nutrition in North Syracuse and Nutrition Wave in Cicero on their very unique shakes and teas.
I always ask them, are you looking for a shake or a tea? Like, are you hungry or do you need a little bit of a pick-me-up? And then from there, I normally gear it towards whichever they prefer. So I say we offer full meal replacement shakes. They're 24 grams of protein, 21 vitamins and minerals. So the vitamins and minerals in that shake make it a full meal. And you'll stay full for about 4 or 5 hours. And if they want a tea, then I'll tell them that there's either 115 to 200 milligrams of caffeine. I would compare it to maybe 2 cups of coffee, and I explain all the benefits that are in the tea. Like, they have B vitamins to sustain your energy all day long. They have a tea for mental clarity and focus. They have a thermogenic tea to help boost your metabolism, burn calories. Aloe is great for nutrient absorption and digestion. And I say there's other flavors in it for the pretty colors and flavors. I always ask them, like, what's your favorite lollipop flavor? And then I'll go from there, and I'm like, well, believe it or not, there's less than a gram of sugar, and it's good for you. The shakes, I say it's like your favorite candy bar or your favorite ice cream, because you've had them. It genuinely does not taste like a regular protein shake. This was the first yes that I've ever given, because I've always been like too shy or too scared to like talk to people or anything, and this just kind of really opened me up. I've stayed here so long because I just love seeing everybody's faces, having them like sit down at the bar and just telling us little tidbits about their life. You really have no idea what's going on in other people's life, and I feel like this job specifically really puts it into perspective and just kind of helps you enjoy other people's presence. As like a young adult and as a person, I have learned so much working here. Like, to me, it's way more than just shakes and teas.
For healthy drinks that taste amazing in a welcoming atmosphere, head to North Star Nutrition on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse and Nutrition Wave on 6197 State Route 31 in Cicero. Open 7 days a week at each location. What's up, people, and welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And I want to thank everybody that's gone out and gotten my drink at North Star Nutrition and Nutrition Wave. It's called the Mic Drop. You can go in there and ask for the Mic Drop or the DT Mic Drop, and they will make that for you. So make sure you head out there today to either location. North Star Nutrition, located for you on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, right there by Utica Pizza. And you can also go out to 6197 New York Route 31 in Cicero to Nutrition Wave and ask for the Mic Drop. It is a tea. It is absolutely incredible. It's iced, and it is pomegranate, blackberry, blueberry, strawberry, and watermelon all mixed into one creation. And you can go out and try that awesome tea today. And it's a healthier option for you. So it tastes absolutely amazing, and it's healthier than other things that you may be drinking right now. So go out there and get the mic drop. Support me, support the show, and support your taste buds because it's incredible. So go and get the mic drop today. With that being said, I am honored and privileged to have our second guest of the day on the broadcast, inside of MonPausPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', Seamus Shanley here to join me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Seamus is someone who speaks to so many things that I find to be important, recruiting locally, recruiting in the Northeast, knowing that there's talent here in Central and Upstate New York, and showing that talent to the world. He's somebody that fought to get onto the Syracuse Orange football team and fight to be a starter on the team as well. And, you know, you could see in the picture that we put up of him that not only did he fight to get on the team and succeed, fight to be a starter and succeed, but he also won a bowl game with the Syracuse Orange. So a beautiful story on a wonderful, wonderful soul that's out there in our community, and that being Mr. Seamus Shanley. So we're looking to bring him in right now, and we could picture him here so that we can have some fun with him. So Seamus, hopefully
Seamus
coming
Shanley,
in with
so we're
us
looking to bring him in
very soon so that we can share this opportunity with him on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So we anticipate hopefully getting Seamus on here soon so that we can see him, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna reload this to try and bring on Seamus video here today as we look to have him picture in picture with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Seamus Shanley, the next of a long list of
Recording in
Syracuse
progress.
Orange football
Recording
alumni
stopped.
that have joined me here on the broadcast, and will look to continue to have more on as we were speaking going in about Syracuse and the firing of Dino Babers and what we do moving forward, and then who should Syracuse hire, what should that coach look at. And now Seamus is going to be the first Syracuse Orange football alum on the show to speak on the new head coach in Fran Brown. He's going to be my first Syracuse Orange alum guest to speak on the actual hire, because the guests we had yesterday were prior to the official announcement of Fran Brown. So looking forward to having Seamus come on here very shortly so that we can tell the story here of him in the background, as well as talk about alumni and get into a bunch of great things where sports truly meets that thing called life. So excited to have Seamus come on, and excited to have him talk about what's going on from his point of view. So we're looking to get him on here very shortly, and we could tell that story with him. So looking forward to having Seamus Shanley on the broadcast. We appreciate you being here. Mary Grimes just joined us for a wonderful Dolphin Dive, celebrating the first ever victory for the Moyne Dolphins women's basketball team as a D1 program. So first victory as a D1 program against a D1 opponent happens just 5 games into their season, this inaugural season in Division I. So very excited for Mary Grimes and the crew, and looking to have Seamus Shanley on here momentarily. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break, and we'll be back with Seamus right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond. Order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we now have Seamus, who's going to be coming in with us, so we appreciate your patience on this as we got Seamus's video ready to be with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So, Mr. Shanley, how we doing?
Good. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing very well. And Seamus, you are the first Syracuse Orange football alum to join me on the broadcast since the coaching change has happened. So you are the first one that could give your opinion, first one that could give your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the coaching change?
Honestly, I think it's a great hire. I think first and foremost, it seems like the new guy coming in he's a man of high character, and more importantly, it seems like he cares about his players both on and off the field. And again, I think that is very, very important when it comes to college athletics. Obviously, the game of football is fantastic and what you learn within the game of football, but he wants to turn these boys into men after the 4 to 5 years that he has the privilege to be able to coach them.
And for you, that impression that you have from Fran Brown, where does that come from? Just for like doing research, looking at some things he said on social media, just where you've gotten that from?
So I did a little bit of research last night once it became official. And what caught my eye was one of his players from Georgia came out and said that if my car were to break down, he's the first person I would call, and no doubt he would show up for me. And that to have that trust in a coach, especially when you are going through the grind 24/7, and both, like I said, on the football field and in life, is again, it's contagious, and it's something that does not go unnoticed.
Yeah, in this move that was made, I mean, we've spoken with alumni here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for many years, and with this college football program at Syracuse. So many of you have joined the show, but this is history in the making because of the fact that, you're joining to talk about a new head coach in Fran Brown, and no one else has done it. So I got to ask you this, Seamus, since we're making history together, what does it mean to you to be my first alum that gets to have this conversation on the broadcast here on Wake Up Call?
No, it definitely means a lot to be able to come on. And like I said last night, Dan, it's an honor to be able to talk to you because your passion for Syracuse athletics, let alone the football program, is exactly what we need more in the community, more consistency of that throughout the community. When we have to go through the trials and stipulations of good wins and bad losses. And I think that's exactly what Fran Brown is going to bring, is that consistency, that you're either with us or you're against us. And in his own words, based off hearing him speak and hearing his past players speak and hearing Kirby Smart touch upon him and past coaches that he's worked under, he is he's coming, and he's coming to win, or else he wouldn't have taken this job.
Yeah, and we heard from John Wildhack, the director of athletics at Syracuse University, that he was looking for someone who had Northeast ties. We know that Fran Brown comes from Camden, New Jersey. We know that he coached at Temple twice, and he also coached at Rutgers. He did have some coaching experience at Baylor, and most recently on the national champion Georgia Bulldogs. The one other thing that he had stated, though, that he was really looking to when you talk about Northeast ties and 6-hour radius and all of that, is that he said he wanted head coaching experience. They were going to look at coordinators. They would look at assistants. But it sounded like, hey, we would like to hire a head coach. Were you surprised that Syracuse hired Fran Brown with him not having been a head coach?
I wouldn't say I would necessarily be surprised, given his resume, like you just touched upon. I think when this process first began, like we spoke in the past, Dan, is I definitely thought they would go after experience, only because of where the program is and where we need to be. I think experience, but with that being said, I think experience does help, but only to a certain degree. It sounds like I said, Fran Brown's resume speaks for itself. It's his first time head coaching gig. And he understands the rich tradition of what Syracuse University brings to the table. I think he understands today's football and what it means to be able to go get a top-notch recruit. It's easy for someone to look at film, especially in the head coaching position, and be like, oh, this kid's really good at football. But what else does he bring to the community? What is he going to represent our program and our university to the best of his abilities, both, again, on the field and in the community, in the classroom, and so forth? And if he doesn't meet that criteria, then I don't think he's a good fit for our university.
Well, and when you talk about that, you talk about bringing in the talent, getting different guys. I mean, being on a national championship staff, when I had put out different names and I put out different people in this coaching run, I had stated, this coach won a national championship here, this coach won a national championship there, and some people responded to me and basically said, if you're an assistant coach, it doesn't count. What's your reaction to that? I think every coach on a staff should get some credit if you win a national championship.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you got there's an interview that he did a couple years ago when he first got to Georgia as a DB coach, and he nailed it right on the head. He goes, me coming in here as an assistant coach under Kirby Smart, I could have ruined the chemistry amongst the coaching staff and these players, or I could have helped it. It's one of the two. And he's like, luckily, I came in here and I just picked up what they built here already prior to me coming. And that's the mindset that he appears to have. He wants to go in and he understands it's a collective effort. And I don't think he will forget that as the head coach, of how important his assistant coaches are in regards to the impact within the game of football and schematics and whatnot, but more importantly, in the lives of his student athletes.
Yeah, and as he puts this staff together, people get excited about the head coach, and I do too. I love seeing this. I've worked on it tirelessly for many, many hours over these last many days, and it has been eventful to say the least. I, have heard a bunch of different names, gotten to break different stories, gotten to look at different angles of different coaches and who can make sense and who are they looking at, despite who can make sense and who doesn't make sense, who are they looking at? When you go through this process, are you surprised, kind of looking at social media and seeing fans that there was this obsession with Dan Mullen, but there's not even any proof that Dan Mullen interviewed for the job? So I know that he was in Syracuse because, I mean, those come from sources that I definitely trust, and I put that out there. But the Dan Mullen factor coming from the SEC, coming from Florida, he was at Florida for a few seasons, and he's been in the broadcast booth for the last couple of years. Were you surprised that fans were so not only adamant that they wanted Dan Mullen, but they were willing to fight you, yell at you, scream at you, as if they were the agent of Dan Mullen? Did that surprise you at all?
I want to, not really, to be honest with you. I think a big household name is the ideal person or coach of what the university and the community wanted. People surrounding the university, rather. But again, just because you can have a big name coach come in and he's just not a good fit. That's just a game of football.
Yeah.
That's why I really do, from what I've read and seen thus far, Fran Brown is a perfect fit for this community. And again, I feel that he is coming in. He's coming in to win. He's bringing his baggage with him. He knows what it takes to win. Yes, like we just touched upon, it was from an assistant coach's perspective, but doesn't mean that he didn't put as many hours in as a DB's coach as he's going to as a head coach. I feel like we need, as a community, regardless of who is our head coach, we need to back him up, and it starts now. He came out and basically said that he understands this rich tradition of Syracuse football, and he knows the trials and stipulations that we've gone through as a program the last couple of years and so forth.
Yeah.
But again, he wants to come in and try to change this culture, and he wants to do it as soon as he gets here.
Yeah, and when you look at, and folks, you could go and read a bunch of stories on Fran Brown by going to wakeupcalldt.com and checking these out. When they officially announced Fran Brown, and like you said, different comments that he had made, Fran Brown, I do want to read to you what he shared. He said, quote, "I am incredibly proud to be leading Syracuse football at a university with a rich and storied tradition of academic and athletic excellence. Syracuse football has outstanding talent, great facilities, and passionate alumni. The success of the players is my number one priority on and off the field. I want my guys to succeed in life because they played football at Syracuse. My immediate area of focus is building relationships with my current players and putting together an elite staff while also having fun on the recruiting trail. I'm ready to get to work and look forward to building something special for our fans." So he said the success of my players is my number one priority, and then went on to say, on and off the field, I want the guys to succeed in life because they played football at Syracuse. What does that statement mean to you, having played football at Syracuse?
Oh, it means everything, because that's I've always been a big advocate for the university, both football and the university itself, to help shape me into the person I am now, after life after football. And like we've talked about prior, Dan, the characteristics of who Seamus Shanley is, I owe that a lot to the university, of instilling those characteristics in me that I can take and hold close to my heart for the rest of my life. Again, I think he sees it for what it's worth. I think he sees that, yes, football, I'm here to win football games. That is my job. But again, there's more to the game of football. I care about my players. I want to see them, after their football careers at Syracuse University, and if they're honored and lucky enough to go play in the NFL, even when that part of their chapter is done, I want to be able to see that they're good fathers, they're good people in the communities, whatever that may be. And I think that's very important when it comes to recruiting, especially when you're trying to, not only are you trying to sell the player to come play for your program, you're also trying to sell the family too, especially if they're coming from out of state, right? To know that my boy is going to come to Syracuse University and he's in good hands, but I know that he is going to do right by your side, and you are going to change him into a man.
Yeah, and That piece, the piece that you and I talk about so much, is building the human being, not just the football player or the athlete in general. Seamus Shanley joining me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Syracuse and West Genesee alum on the Orange moving forward, and my first Syracuse alum joining the broadcast since the hiring of Fran Brown. Seamus, you come from Central New York. You come from West Genesee in Camillus, New York. So you went on to Syracuse being recruited locally. You know what it's like to recruit in the North, to be somebody in the Northeast, hoping to get a look, hoping to get an opportunity. This Northeast connection is something that Syracuse University, through John Wildhack, the director of athletics, said that they wanted. So, as a Central New York alum, a West Genesee recruit, and a student athlete in the Northeast, what would you like to say to Fran Brown about talent in Central and Upstate New York and the state of New York, as well as talent in the Northeast?
Simply put, a football player is a football player. It doesn't matter if you can play the game, you can play the game. Look what Bruce Williams is doing over at CBA right now, and look at how many of those players are getting looked at by big-time Division I football programs. We've always touched upon, Dan, like I said, we've harped on this numerous times. If someone, just because someone plays in upstate New York, if they can play football, that should not be held against them at all. There is talent here. I definitely think that it might not, unfortunately, we don't have the luxury to play all year round because of the weather up here. But again, when you have pure talent that's homegrown, you need to keep them here. There is no excuse to allow them to go to other schools before highly considering Syracuse University.
You know, and we've seen that. I've seen it recently with Christian Brothers Academy as they fight for a state title this weekend. I believe over 20 schools have gone to visit Christian Brothers Academy. We're talking about Division 1A FBS institutions. We're talking about institutions that are outside of the Northeast as well. So that connection of building that talent, right, in Central and Upstate New York, the state of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, if I didn't say Pennsylvania. But the importance of all of that, Seamus, you understand that. You know that. And what I find funny is when people say, that doesn't matter, Dan, why do you care? My rebuttal is everyone's going to Texas. Everyone's going to Florida. Everyone's going to California. Everyone's trying to get the talent from a lot of the same places. But you got to take care of your radius, your 6-hour radius. What can you say to that? Not just New York, but the Northeast in general. I mean, you said a football player is a football player, but we're in 2023. We've seen incredible athletes come through here. We've seen Super Bowl champions play in Central New York before they went on to the NFL. Latavius Murray's in the NFL right now. Dorsey Levens won a Super Bowl. You know, we know the success of Mike Hart as he moved forward to Michigan and on from there. Servassier Dennis is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now. You know, I mean, we look at these student athletes that have been looked over by Syracuse, and they've all been successful. And not just a little bit successful, but NFL successful, Super Bowl successful. These are guys, I mean, Derek Gore coming from the community, and he's in the NFL right now. A lot of running backs have come through this community. And the next one that has 20-plus offers, that has a recruiting completely open, is Sire Torrance from Christian Brothers Academy, who's played wide receiver and defensive back. So when we look at the Northeast and we look at the value of talent, what do you say to someone that says, we got to be in Texas, we got to be in Florida, we got to go where everybody else is going?
I would say Justin Pugh. Justin Pugh. That's the first person that comes to mind that was from PA, right? He was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school. Didn't have many offers, and now, many years later, first-round draft pick, he's starting for the New York Giants. And then I also would say is, look at when my time up there, majority of our starting offensive line, you had Amari Palmer, Long Island, Jason Emmerich, PA. Me from obviously Syracuse, New York. Rob Trudeau, PA. Ivan Foy, down from New York City area. So you had Nick Robinson, Baldwinsville, right in our backyard. So you had talent that was able to fulfill those shoes of being a starter at a Power 5 school. But I think it all comes back to what I said before, is that when talent is in our backyard, whether it be in PA, New Jersey, Connecticut, anywhere along the Northeast, we should not be allowing these teams from the West Coast and so forth coming to step on our guys. Those are our guys.
Yeah.
And I think, like you touched upon, it goes back to what makes Syracuse University Syracuse University football rather have that rich tradition. And back when you had McNabb era and so forth, they were recruiting the Northeast heavy, and they were winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think. Yep. So I think it's very important. And like I said, you look at the hiring of Fran Brown, who is a New Jersey guy, and majority of my past teammates and the alumni that were the first to comment on the Fran Brown hire were Jersey boys or guys from downstate. And that speaks volume to what they know, what this guy is going to bring to the table for our university.
Yeah, and that thing, I mean, that connection, that hope, right? The Northeast being important, recruiting the area being important, being vital. I think the most exciting thing now is, we know that there's, you're going to get on he'll get on the recruiting trail. He'll be putting his staff together. When you're in a situation like this, and I would imagine when Syracuse is looking at who are we going to hire, you look at the people that have the best plan. You look at the people that can tell you, these are the people that I'm going to bring on my staff. This is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. This is my plan immediately. This is my plan in the next 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, so on and so forth. So Fran's plan is something that I look forward coming into fruition. But now we get to see him put a staff together. Now we get to see who he wants, who he takes, what are their ties, what's their experience, why are they coming in, what's their area that they're going to be focusing on. Does he have a Florida guy? Does he have a New York guy? Is he going to hire someone that's connected to the Orange football program? Is he going to keep somebody on staff? Is he going to get a Midwest guy, a West Coast guy? Who is he going to work with? Why is he going to work with them? And what do they bring to the table? So as he recruits in general, and we know that the transfer portal is going to be opening very soon as well. As all of this goes on, I'm really excited to see what his staff is going to look like and how he's going to put it together, where he's going to go, why he's going to go there. That to me is, everybody's like, who's the coach going to be? Who's the coach going to be? I'm just as excited to find out who the assistant coaches and coordinators are going to be.
No, absolutely. Like I touched upon earlier, is you got to fit the mold, right? Just because you can be a fantastic coach with an amazing track record, if you don't fit the bigger picture as to what he sees this football program to be, or to become rather, then it might not be a good fit. It's all about a good fit, especially with the X's and O's of what he views schematic-wise, of the type of offense, defense, and so forth that he's going to run up here. Yeah. And to touch base upon that, Dan, I think what I'm most excited for is it sounds like he understands the importance of alumni, especially both locally and nationally. And I don't want to harp on the past, but it seems like that's something that we've kind of lacked in, I guess you can say, in terms of bringing in our alumni, getting them as involved as possible to those who helped build the so-called walls before his arrival. And I think, like I said, seeing a couple of interviews and comments that he's made, he understands the importance of that, which is very it's very exciting to see.
Yeah, and now we get to experience all of, what his ideas were. I think it's going to be exciting for Fran more than anybody else because, you dream about being a head coach and you think to yourself and you have those conversations like, if I get the job, you're going to be my guy. I'm going to give you a call. If I get the job, these are my people. And he's probably had those talks over the years of, the day that happens, you're going to be my first call. You're going to be somebody I want to talk to. You're going to be somebody I want to be part of this. So I look forward to that with Fran. I look forward to the Orange moving forward. But what we know, Seamus, and you experienced it with the, obviously hoisting up that Texas Bowl trophy. You know what it's like to go to bowl season in Syracuse. You know what it's like to work from Central New York, earn your spot on the team from West Genesee to Syracuse, and become a starter and win a bowl game. Syracuse is going to back-to-back bowls. It's been a minute since that's happened, and the opportunity, and that was around your time when it happened, the transition from Marone to Schaefer. So now we have the opportunity to see Syracuse go to back-to-back bowls for the first time in a long time. And what's your thoughts on that? I mean, the fact that a new head coach is coming in, a new era is beginning, but at the same time, this team never said die, and they fought with Nunzio Campanelli, their interim head coach, tight ends coach on the team. Nunzio and the squad banded together. The guys refused to lose, and they're going back to another bowl game in consecutive years.
Oh, it's awesome. Like I said, I've been there. It's a lot of question marks, especially in regards to your as a player, your future personally, especially when you're going through a transition of a new coach. But at the end of the day, you play for each other. That's what it's all about. Yes, your coaches are put in that position to give you the best game plan for that particular week going into that particular game. And it's up to the players to execute, right? So to be able to go to another bowl, I think it's awesome. First and foremost, it's awesome for the seniors to send them out the right way.
Yeah.
Because like me personally, my last year playing was with Schaefer. My last memory of playing in the Dome against Boston College was Rob Trudeau and Nick Robinson putting Schaefer on their shoulders and walking him out and sending him off the right way. So that was my last memory. We weren't fortunate enough to be able to go play postseason football that year.
Yeah.
But in regards to the similarities, we just went into that week knowing like, hey, it's about us. Let the outside noise stay on the outside. We want to play for each other. We're going to send these seniors out the right way. And you know what? We're gonna end this era of Syracuse football on a high note. And I think that's exactly the mindset that these current players had. And fortunately for them, and it's a good thing to build on, especially for Fran Brown. Yeah. Coming in and being like, you know what, you guys already knew you already had a success and had a taste of the pie of what it means to go to a bowl game and to play postseason football. But now let's take that next step. So more importantly, like I said, great for the players, awesome for the players, memories that they will take for the rest of their life. But it kind of keeps them away from the outside noise right now as Syracuse football is going through that transition with Fran Brown.
Right, and not a bad problem to have, right? As your season is extended to a 13th game, so with all of this stuff going on around the team, like you said, they still have another game to play. They have more practices to be had, more opportunities to come, and the excitement of finding out what bowl chooses them. Where will they be going? Who will they be playing? So there's never a bad season when you get to go to a bowl game. Seamus, I'm going to give you the final word. Anything you want to say to Fran Brown, to the community, to the fans, to anybody out there as we step forward? I see you in all your SU gear today, and I know you're always rocking the SU gear, but to me, I have a lot of things that I want to thank you for, and I will do that, but I want to give you the final word on whatever you would like to say.
No, I think people need to realize how special this place really is. We need the community. It's not just alumni, the current staff, the future staff, the current players, the future players. We need everyone in this community to realize that, yes, as we are going into a new era of Syracuse football, that it's going to take all of us to welcome Fran Brown to the Syracuse football family with open arms. There's going to be a lot of highs and lows. That's the game of football, and we need to be patient. But regardless, we need to stand by this football program side. I'm very excited for him, obviously, as this is his first head coaching experience. And what better place, in my opinion, what better place to do it than Syracuse University on the Hill, and taking over a football program that, in my eyes, in many cases, is ready to take that next step. And what better hire to have than someone that has a couple of national championships under his belt, and he knows what it takes to win in all aspects of football. So I just think the most important thing is that we need to back him. We need to understand that he's not gonna come in here next year and he's gonna win we have to be realistic as to what we expect. Again, we gotta surround him. We gotta surround him with love when he comes in, and it's all right to expect the most out of him, especially when a lot of the community's been waiting to win big for a long time. But you got to understand the process, and we got to go through the ups and downs with him collectively as a community.
Yeah, appreciate him, support him, respect the process, get behind him, greet him with open arms. I agree with all of that, and we'll have the opportunity to do that in the press conference, the introductory press conference for Fran Brown, coming up this Monday, December 4th, which is also when the transfer portal will be open. Seamus, thank you for representing West Genesee. Thank you for representing Central and Upstate New York. Thank you for representing Syracuse. Thank you in general for representing our community in such a loving, caring, humble, and kind way. You've always been good to me. You are the epitome of when I say there is talent here, there are good people here, there's good men and women that should be given opportunities at Syracuse University, and I love everything that you have done to work through to get to where you were there and to get to where you are today. I also want to thank you for protecting our streets, protecting our people, and doing a very, very much so, unfortunately, at many times, and it shouldn't be a thankless job, but it has been. So thank you for fighting on the field. Thank you for showing us the beauty of the talent that does get opportunities to stay home in Syracuse and Central and Upstate New York. But more than anything else, thank you for being such a good person in our community that is willing to help total strangers and truly be the Good Samaritan. So I do want to say thank you for that.
No, I appreciate it, Dan. And like I've always told you, the support, especially for someone like you, it means a lot. Meeting someone like you and be able to talk to you on the show and just touching base once in a while, it makes what I went through, the highs and lows up at Syracuse University, worth it. It shows that you have the support from the community, the silent majority, and you have always been and always will be an advocate for Syracuse University athletics. And I know I can speak not only on behalf of myself, but past and current players. We appreciate the support from you, man, and it truly does mean a lot.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my honor. And you're one of the best ones out there. So shout out to you. Happy marriage life, as always. Happy being a dad life, Mr. Shanley. And please give my best to Alyssa and the crew. And I send you all my love, as always.
Absolutely, man. Don't be a stranger. We'll stay in touch.
Yes, we definitely will. I'll talk with you soon.
Yes, sir.
You will. That coming once again from Seamus Shanley here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Seamus joining the show as the first Syracuse Orange football alum to speak with me on the hiring of Fran Brown, as it happened yesterday officially and Seamus just joined me this morning. So shout out to Seamus for making history, being the first alum to have the conversation with me, which I'm very excited to have. There's many, many more conversations to be had here on Wake Up Call, and we are going to do exactly that as we continue our broadcast throughout the coming weeks. So with that being said, we are going to end this video and start a new one. As you know, on Wednesdays for fantasy football, we do the show in two parts. The reason why we do it in two parts is so that my fantasy football owners don't have to sift through anything. They could just go straight to the information. And so we're going to do that as we have covered fantasy football for many, many years, probably presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. So if you're on video with us and audio, we will be back momentarily.